Hey, what's going on guys? It's Paper here with a new Marvel Snap video. X-23 is the newest card in the game, and with her come synergies and buffs to both discard and destroy decks. X-23 is a 1-cost, 2-power card that says when destroyed or discarded, regenerate this card at a random location and you get +1 energy next turn. This is a crazy good ramp card for both of these archetypes. Both these archetypes really kind of want this ramp, and now that they have it, it's a really great way to introduce different strategies to these lists, as well as different play patterns that haven't really been existent in these two archetypes thus far. We previously did run Electro in some destroy lists as a way to get to our 6-cost cards a little bit easier. However, with X-23, we now have a purely synergistic way to get into those 6-cost cards, which is amazing for the archetype. I'm really excited for X-23, and let's get into some of the decks that I am really eager to run with this card. So when thinking about what deck to run X-23 in, you have to start thinking about what are the advantages of running the card. For X-23, the advantage is the fact that she gives you an extra energy almost every single turn. If you're able to discard her or destroy her every turn, you're able to get her effect multiple times throughout the game, meaning that you have basically an extra energy all game long. So the most obvious synergy would be Deadpool. Deadpool gets hampered by the fact that you have to spend an energy every single turn in order to get him out, to destroy him again, to utilize his effect to the most ability. With X-23, you actually don't need to worry about that 1 energy every turn because you're getting that energy from X-23 every single time you are destroying Deadpool. So it's really great for that reason. The other things that really work well with X-23 are going to be cards that you want to play a little bit earlier than they would normally come out. So something like a Nimrod, so you can destroy more of them, would be really great. Something like playing your other 6-cost cards earlier is also a great thing. We get to play Null on turn 5 into a Zola on turn 6 potentially. All of these things really make X-23 shine, particularly in the destroy list, because there are so many cards that will be able to get rid of her multiple times throughout the game. Now, with discard, it's a little bit harder because you can only really discard her once, so you really need to plan out when you're going to use her to get that big effect off. In discard, we have an easy way to get rid of her in Colleen Wing. Most discard decks do not run any 1-cost cards or only run 1, so X-23 being a very low-cost card will almost always be discarded by Colleen Wing. Now we just need to think about why we're discarding her. In some decks, you're going to run a lot of 6-cost cards. For example, in Hela decks are going to run a lot of 6-cost cards. If you don't have the full Hela combo, it'll help you play at least another 6-cost card early. So you have that sort of strategy that you can use. In other decks, including the deck that I'm going to show today, we have other cards that we would like to see come out early. Classic discard cards like MODOK and Dracula oftentimes would want to come out early. Those are going to be just general combinations with her. However, in the list that I've been running with discard lately, I run Professor X in my list, and it's kind of a surprise way to get a locked lane that makes it easier for you to pull off the victory in the rest of the game. So the first deck that I have here is the Deadpool Destroy deck. The Deadpool Destroy deck is an extremely good synergy for X-23. We do get rid of that downside of having to play Deadpool every turn for 1 energy, as X-23 is going to give us that extra energy every single turn. In this deck, we're also using things like Null and Taskmaster to just create huge powers on the board later in the game. And with X-23, we can actually get Null on the board early to copy Null's power with Taskmaster later on. We also have the option to copy a Big Venom or even a Big Deadpool with Taskmaster on turn 6. There are very good combos in this deck. I think this might be one of the strongest lists. The next list might be a bit more consistent, but I think with the buff to Forge and this now X-23 card coming in for Deadpool, I think this might be an actual viable archetype, as long as Cosmo and Armor aren't too prevalent in the meta. The second list that I have for Destroy is a more general list. It's going to be probably more consistent. I do think that Thanos Galactus is an extremely strong archetype as it is. Thanos Galactus has so many different options and play patterns in order to win the game that I think it's really hard to pass up playing a free energy that you can get multiple times per game in X-23. So I think with this deck, I'm actually going to run this one probably the most, just because I think it's the most consistent and it'll also have the most variety in gameplay. There's not really any other deck in the game that has as many different win conditions as a Thanos Galactus deck, and I'm really excited to play this deck. We're going to use X-23 here to do things like get Nimrod or Iron Lad out early, as well as play maybe a turn 4 Galactus if we have both a destroyed X-23 as well as a Time Stone on turn 3. So Galactus is also another win condition that will be pretty unexpected by turn 4 since we're not using Wave in this list. I think this list is going to be extremely strong, and I think it might be the strongest X-23 list that's going to be out there. Moving on to discard. Discard has been one of my specialties since the game pretty much came out. I've been playing discard for a long time, even when it's not really in the meta. I think this is my favorite way to play discard though, running a Daredevil Professor X tech in the list. It's actually pretty strong even without X-23, but with the addition of X-23, we now get to get Professor X out a turn early, which is massive. Also in these situations where we play Professor X, we normally couldn't play MODOK, but now that we have X-23 into Professor X, it also opens up the chance to play MODOK in those same games, which is hugely valuable. Additionally, like I said before, we have the possibility of discarding X-23 on turn 5 for a MODOK into Morbius play, which if we have a ton of swarms in our hands, it's going to be a massive play to add both 8 power plus whatever Morbius is going to be at the end of the game. I think this deck is going to mesh pretty well. We also have Chavez in here to add to the consistency of getting X-23 as well. This deck is already pretty strong. It does get countered by Spider-Ham pretty hard. However, with Professor X, we have the lockdown to be able to secure one lane and hopefully be able to play for a different lane, even with the Spider-Ham being played. All right, so that's it for X-23. I think X-23 is going to be a great addition to the meta. I'm super excited to play with her. These 3 decks are going to be the 3 decks that I'm going to be playing on stream when she comes out. I do stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This week is a little bit different. I'll be streaming on Monday and Tuesday, and then for the rest of the week, I will be at SnapCon. So if you're going to SnapCon, it's in Tampa, Florida. I'll be there. I'm doing some panels and some game shows. So leave me a comment below if you're going, and maybe we can do a little meetup with everybody. Also, if you like this video, give me a like below and subscribe to this channel if you aren't already subscribed. I read every single comment as well, so if you have any criticism or critiques for this video and the style that I'm using here, go ahead and leave them in the comments below and I'll take a look at them. As always, guys, I just want to thank you for sticking through this whole video and watching this video. All the support on YouTube has really meant the world to me, and as you can see, I'm trying to branch out on my YouTube content. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this content, and hopefully I can continue to provide all of these new videos for you. I'm really trying to diversify what I'm doing here outside of just deck videos to do a little bit more for the Snap community. So if you like this video, like I said, give me a like below, subscribe to the channel, give me a comment, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, good luck snapping.